Hey everyone, it's me Suja over here. Welcome back to another video. So I'm going to be talking about, is Vietnam a racist country? So yes, this video is about racism. One of my subscribers, he sent me a message last evening, and he wanted me to make a video about this. He's from India, and he loves my content, and so he's planning to come to Vietnam for a vacation with his wife. He's newly married, and like he asked me, he actually asked me that how's the situation over there in Vietnam, and if I can come up with a video about this. Okay. So yes, I'm going to be talking about this. A quick disclaimer. I've been living in Vietnam for over 7 years now, and I've been living here for quite many years. Like substantially. Pardon my English. It sucks sometimes. Yeah, but I'm not a newbie to Vietnam. I'm not a tourist. So I'm going to be talking from my personal experience because I've been living over here for over 7 years now. And of course, Vietnam is my second home. I love Vietnam. I love the food. I love going out to the coffee shops. And of course, it's kind of a very peaceful environment, and of course you can have a good standard of living. It's not very expensive as compared to in Thailand. I may like to come up with a video for that as well. All right. So anyway, if you are new to my channel, the name of my channel is called as Suja in Vietnam. I've been living over here for 7 years now. I was an English teacher before here in Vietnam for 4 years. Then I started my online business, digital marketing business, and I'm also a full-time YouTuber. So if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, because I know a lot of people watch my content, but it takes less than 15 seconds to hit the subscribe button, and that way you can support my work. So let's talk about this topic, okay? Like on my channel, I like to address these pain points. Now, before you guys dive into the keyboards and start, screwing me up on the comment section, I told you, like I said, I've been living over here for 7 years. I'm not a newbie out here in Vietnam, so I'm going to be talking from my personal experience. I'm a person of color. I'm not a white person. I'm not a white foreigner. I'm not a white expat. I'm a person of color. I'm from India, and yes, I have dark brown skin. And I'm just going to be talking from my personal experience. Okay, so just quickly my notes over here. So quickly to answer this question, is Vietnam a racist country? My answer would be yes, it is. Now, don't get fooled by, like most of these YouTubers, who come to Vietnam and make travel vlogs or, do food review vlogs here in Vietnam. That is not my cup of tea, and I usually don't watch these kind of channels, okay? And especially these travel vloggers, food vloggers, they don't stay over here. They come here for a short trip. They make, all the Hollywood style production, cinematic views or whatever. It's all for their political gains. They want to get a lot of viewership. They want to increase their subscriber counts. So, and of course, my video is not targeting tourists who are coming to Vietnam, okay? Now, even if you are coming from India or you're coming from any other part of the world, yes, do come to Vietnam, beautiful country. You know, you would have a great time. You know, you travel around in Vietnam and, you know, explore the beautiful country. You can go to Da Nang, Vũng Tàu, Hanoi up in the north, Ho Chi Minh City, of course, the business city out here in Vietnam, and so many other places. You know, Phu Quoc, which is the Phu Quoc Islands, you know, which is coming up in a big way, and I think that's going to be the next Phuket. So yes, my video is primarily focused for expats who are living out here for, you know, a couple of months, or who have been here for some time, and of course as a general awareness, you know, so it's specifically catered for those kind of audiences. All right, okay. So yes, from my personal, so let's talk about the Vietnamese society. Okay, let's start with the crux of it. Okay, yes, you know, of course, it's, you know, Vietnam is a very cultural country, and of course, you know, they follow a lot of family traditions and everything. But, you know, the whole society is, I'm sorry to say that the whole society here in Vietnam in general is very, you know, it's kind of a very ignorant type society. Okay, now let me explain you this, what I mean by this, right? So say, for example, if I go to a coffee shop here in maybe in Ho Chi Minh City, or if I go to a restaurant or something, I may not get a good treatment in terms of, you know, getting a good service, customer service. You know, it's just like, but if it's a foreigner, like who is like, I mean, a Caucasian foreigner, okay, like the white foreigner, okay. So typically, the Vietnamese society in general is very white infatuated. Okay, they love to have fair skin. It's just like in Thailand, but you know, they're more friendlier towards white tourists and white expats here in Vietnam, compared to someone like a person like me. You know, I'm from India, and you know, like I'm a person of color. Okay, so I do get a lot of friction. Okay, I do also get that kind of, some of the time I do get shitty treatments. Okay, and I would say it's just ignorance. And you know, I feel like, you know, I feel like, you know, I feel like a second class citizen, right? I mean, I feel like, you know, why am I getting treated this way? Why are they very cold towards me? Okay, if I'm going to a restaurant here in Vietnam, or if I'm going to a coffee shop or something, you know, I get that kind of bad service. Not polite, you know, just kind of rude. Or even like, you know, when I land here in Vietnam, and if I want to change currency, like, you know, if I want to exchange money, I go to the exchange counter or whatever. They're very cold towards me, you know. You don't get that friendly vibe from my point of view, okay, as a person of color. You just don't get that friendly vibe, you know. And of course, that kind of gives me a very negative image of how the society is in general. So yes, I would say that majority of the society out here in Vietnam is very ignorant. They're very white infatuated. If you're a white tourist or a white expat coming over here to Vietnam, you would be treated very well. Like I said in one of my previous videos, when I spoke about the Saigon vibe, when I came over here when I came back to Vietnam from my Thailand trip, I spoke about the Saigon vibe, and I told you that, like, even in a place like District 1 in Ho Chi Minh City, you know, you would encounter a lot of white privilege, you know, because mainly it's catered for white tourists, white backpackers, you know, and you know, I'm just speaking the truth, okay. I'm not making up any stories. And I know, like, most of these people who try to slam me on the comment section and, you know, abuse me on the comment section, these folks are whites. Okay? I mean, I know, and they are like, you know, most of them, they create these fake accounts and they start screwing me around. It's easy to be a keyboard warrior. Try being a YouTuber. Okay? Try being a YouTuber. Then you can make the difference, okay? Because I don't like to sit on my desk and just type crap on the keyboard. That's not my nature. So yeah, I spoke about the society, the white privilege, you know, like you do have a lot of, let me fix the camera over here. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. Right, yeah. So yeah, the white privilege factor, okay, that's there. Okay, now let's talk about, you know, the opportunities. Okay, now fortunately, I don't have to rely on, I mean, I have my own digital marketing online thing going on, okay, and I was very fortunate that when I came to Vietnam back in 2015, I became an English teacher. And I'll give you a classic example. Like most of when I was certifying myself to become an English teacher, you know, here in Vietnam, most of my batchmates, they all came from Western countries, you know, had the Western passport and everything. Of course, I hold an Indian passport, and I'm very proud from where I come from, because India is doing very well also. But anyway, I don't want to get into that detail, but, you know, it's just that after I completed that course, all my batchmates, they immediately got into all these big top language centers here in Vietnam. They didn't have any issues getting hired. The only issue I had, the only encounter was issue which I had was getting a English teaching job after finishing the course. Okay, I remember I had one more batchmate. He was from Ghana. I won't name that guy, but he had to wait for 2 months to get some kind of an English teaching job over here in Vietnam, you know, and that too was far away in the countryside. And he told me, because I was in touch with him on Facebook, and he said he just got some part-time and he gets very little hours. And he spent a lot of money for that course, you know. He spent around like $1,500 US for that course, which even I had to do. But I had to wait for nearly a month to get some kind of an English teaching job here, and that was in Gobap district, you know, far from the city, and moving around in far locations like Thoduk, and teaching schools crazy hours, encountering a lot of issues with the TA, because majority of the schools over here in Vietnam, you know, they prefer hiring native teachers, or, you know, like teachers who are white teachers, you know. And yeah, and I faced a lot of shit, you know, like for 4 years, you know. I had job insecurity. I tried to teach in some language centers. I was underpaid. I did a lot of overtime. I was kind of misused. And, you know, it's sad reality that, you know, like a couple of these YouTube channels, you know, like giving you a false narrative, you know, like come to Vietnam, become an English teacher. You know, you will have a very good life over here. And, you know, you know, they're just giving it's targeted for a specific audience. Okay, now that audience is predominantly the white teachers, okay, the white expats who want to come to Vietnam, and, you know, or who are those passport bro types, you know, from those native countries. And I still give you this in writing, that if you're coming from one of those countries like America, Australia, UK, even South Africa, you know, you will not have any issues getting any English teaching positions over here. You would even get an English teaching job over here less than a week. It's not going to be very difficult for you. Yes, the requirements are now that you do have to have a degree, You need to have your original certificate, a criminal background. But back in my time, I believe in 2016, when I was teaching around, like I remember like some dude half my age, he would come down to Vietnam, and he's white and he doesn't have a college degree, but he'll get a English teaching position. His salary would be higher. He would get an apartment, studio, and all that. I mean, just tell me, how many people over here in Vietnam, I mean, even let's talk about corporate jobs over here, like how many people you find a manager who's from Nigeria, or, who's a manager of a bank over here, who's from India, or, whatever it is, yes, I mean, they do focus on their local population, which is quite right, which any country should do. But the reality is that, majority of these top managers and these expats who are getting hefty salaries, and maybe, they're not even qualified or something, these are all white folks, So yeah, I mean, I spoke about the white privilege, okay? So that goes for opportunities, Like let me give you an example of, example of racism, like for example, if I go to a coffee shop over here in Vietnam, go to any of these top coffee shops like Highland, Phuc Long, Katina, or whatever it is, they'll just like xin chào, whatever. I mean, is that the way you're going to be? I mean, I'm not a Vietnamese, so, step up your service or whatever. Or like if I'm using a Grab bike, the dude will come and he will not just even say hello or something. He just looks at me, or, I've had this many times. You look at me, go up and down, you just give me the helmet. Is that the service from Grab Vietnam? It's horrible, Like I wouldn't say. I mean, some of the Grab drivers, they're cool. They like to be a bit communicative, but majority of them, I would say 80%, they're like pretty rude. The attitude is very bad. I mean, I fail to understand how these guys are getting employed with this company here in Vietnam to drive motorbikes, especially if they're having such a cold attitude towards me. And of course I always say hello, but I'm kind of tired of like other Indians who are living over here in Vietnam, or people of color who are accepting this form of discrimination. And it's just that it would be nice if they can speak up. It would be nice they can speak up, or start a YouTube channel, talk about these issues. Because the more awareness it is, the more it will be better. The society will they will educate more that, this is not right, And of course, I would also say that the media, I would say that majority of the Vietnamese media, they're pretty ignorant about this sensitive issue. They don't want to talk about it. And even like if I go to YouTube and if I type, in Vietnamese, Ando, which is India, if I type that, a lot of negative videos about India, dirty, those kind of clickbait thumbnails about, somebody's puking on the food or whatever it is, and these Vietnamese, couple of these racist Vietnamese YouTubers, they just go to India just to make these videos. They don't want to talk about, that India is the fourth largest economy in the world, that, India's GDP is around 7.5% or whatever it is. But I don't want to get into the details, or, India is an economic power, or, it's a very powerful country in terms of everything, defense and whatever. But, these kind of racist YouTubers, Vietnamese YouTubers, they will go to India just to the slums, or take the negative videos, put it on a thumbnail, or you make YouTube shorts and do some Photoshop of a local train with thousands of Indians standing on the train, and, giving a very false narrative, So I can understand what kind of ignorant society it is over here in Vietnam. And yes, that is racism. that is surely racism. Yeah. Now, if I talk about, and like even another example would be like, I'm staying out here in the countryside, which is like really kind of challenging for me. Like I've been living over here for 2 years now, and I mean it's called as Long An. But I mean the classic example of racism would be, I've been living out here for 2 years now, but my neighbors, they don't like to communicate with me. They don't like to even talk to me. I mean, I don't know if they know English or not, but even if like a little hello or whatever, I've tried that, but they just kind of look and, they walk away. So that is another, I mean, living here for 2 years, can you imagine in the countryside and, like unfriendly neighbors? I don't feel comfortable, but, heck, I'm staying out here because it's affordable staying over here, but it's pretty challenging staying out here in the countryside. I mean, you will face a lot of racism if you're a person of color. I mean, I do understand there are not much of foreigners over here at all, but, like a person, I mean, like if you are a person of color, you are going to encounter a lot of stares. And yeah, speaking about the stares, like ever since I've come back to Vietnam, I see like most of these dudes driving motorbikes, they stare at you, as if you're some kind of an alien. This actually never happened to me in Bangkok. People are very much, they're pretty much intellectually, I would say, intellectually more tolerant in Thailand, I would say, when it comes to seeing different kind of tourists. Because maybe, because Thailand is a tourism country, like majority of the economy is around tourism. But here in Vietnam, I do encounter, like if I'm going to be walking out on the streets over here in the countryside and just wearing my t-shirt and, just my short pants or whatever, or just wear a normal dress and walk around without my mask or whatever, I will be getting a lot of stares, and it's not like a happy stare. It's not like a smile stare. Like, it's like, they just literally go and they're like, look at you like this, it fucking pisses me off, I mean. And of course, I just want to also talk about the, the Vietnamese men, like, of course, the women in general, they, working in these mom and pop stores like Circle K and all those places. Yeah, they're not properly trained. Sometimes they can be pretty rude, and like majority of the rudeness comes from the women out here in Vietnam. They can be pretty rude and pretty cold. And I've had that kind of experience, and just sometimes I feel like, I just want to slap them or some shit and teach them a lesson. But, of course, I can't do all that. That's all on my mental process. But I just say to myself, I don't want to go down to that kind of a level as her. And I don't want to argue with her. Just mind my business, walk away. I mean, I'm sure, I can, the next day is next day, forget about the moment, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I fail to understand, like many of these Vietnamese girls, they can be pretty cold. Yeah, they can be pretty cold and pretty nasty. And, as for the Vietnamese men, I'm going to come up with a YouTube video for this also. Like, like the problem with most of the Vietnamese men is that they think that there's some kind of a next level shit, They feel like, I'm so special. I don't care about, that kind of that swag attitude type. I usually prefer, I'm not talking about all Vietnamese men, but there are a few Vietnamese men who, when I used to stay back in Ho Chi Minh, they were friendly. They would like to, just want to strike up a conversation or, they want to talk to me or whatever. I like those kind of people, who want to come and interact with other types of foreigners. I want to get to know them, Another classic example would be like if you go to District 1 here in Ho Chi Minh, you sit in the park. Like if you're a person of color or if you're an Indian, sit in the park alone. And you will see that you'll have a lot of these students, they will just go and target the white tourists and they want to talk English with them. Just tell me, you know, like people don't speak English in India. I mean, am I not speaking English? Or, you know, I see like also, you know, like a couple of these Nigerians, they're sitting in the park bench, but nobody wants to go and talk with them or whatever. They're kind of left neglected, isolated. I mean, in general, you know, like foreigners who are people of color, they're kind of kept neglected, isolated, and you feel a lot of heat, you know, if you are in, you know, District 1 in Ho Chi Minh. Even if you go to Hanoi, Hanoi was like, the racism factor in Hanoi was really, I mean, it was next level shit altogether, you know. I mean, like the rudeness was like scale of 9.5 out of 10. And it's just that I stayed in Hanoi for 2 months, you know, and I really didn't have a good time out there. People were pretty rude, you know, and I mean, I'm not talking about everyone, I'm not generalizing, but Hanoi was like altogether next level stuff, you know. I mean, I would say Ho Chi Minh City is still very kind of tolerant a bit, but yes, there is racism in Ho Chi Minh City, you know, but it's not like they'll come and tell you on your face, like, you know, you're black, or you know, you look shit or you look dirty. But it's in a different way. Okay, it's in a different way, you know. It's just like you know, how they communicate with you, the cold attitude, the cold treatment, you know, not a very friendly kind of a vibe. So that way it's there. Okay, now of course I am going to be coming up with a video sometime later, comparing racism in Vietnam versus racism in Thailand from my personal experience as a person of color. Because I like to talk about these sensitive topics which no one else is going to be talking about, you know. And, you know, I'm a person of color. I'm not a white person. Now, if a white person is going to be talking and saying that there is no racism in Southeast Asia, it's just the ignorance or yada, 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 you're not a person of color, okay? You're not an Indian guy, okay? You're not a person of color. You are just talking about what you are seeing from your focal length, from your lens, okay? Your movie lens, okay? Like I said, you know, and, you know, of course, like I said, there is a huge issue, a huge problem with white privilege out here in Vietnam. And I don't deny that. And that's there in Thailand also, which I experienced. And I think, you know, it would be nice to see that the local people over here in Vietnam, they grow out of this. They should know that being a white tourist doesn't mean that, you know, like, he's some king or queen or something, and treat other foreigners who are Indians, you know, treat them poorly, or, you know, just shout at them. I've even seen this in Bentham Market, couple of street vendors shouting at these Indian tourists and, you know, telling you want to buy or not. Or, you know, it's just, it would be nice to see the local society over here in Vietnam grow out of this and start treating everyone equally the same way, you know. Let there not be any kind of a discrimination or kind of an apartheid thing, or, you know, so everyone should be treated nicely, equally, you know. It's just that it would be nice to see, but that will take time. That will take time, and I'm trying to make this change through my channel, so that I can bring about public awareness. And it would be nice to see that, you know, the Vietnamese media can also start talking about this, that there is this white privilege issue around here in Vietnam, and not all types of foreigners are getting treated equally. You know, seeing an Indian tourist doesn't mean that he or she does not have money, or, you know, they're like coming from some kind of a third world country. India is not a third world country at all. From any length, it is not. It's the fastest growing economy in the world, and it's just wait and watch how 2025 is going to be. Then, you know, like people are going to be, you know, like start talking a lot of different things about India, which unfortunately you don't find out here on YouTube, because, you know, still you have a lot of these racist YouTubers, even expat YouTubers. They go to India, first thing they do is go to the slums, or they take all the negative pictures, videos of India, and they show this is India, or that American dude, you know, like half-brain American, I don't know what that guy's name is. He just he just talked a lot of crap when he was in India, and of course he also talked a lot of crap about, you know, about Vietnam, regarding the regarding how he was supposed to get trafficked. Good luck with you, buddy. I mean, if you're coming out here, good luck. So yeah, I mean, overall, if I want to be rating, okay, sorry, this video is a bit long, out of 10, when it comes to racism out here in Vietnam, I would put Vietnam around 7.5 out of 10. I mean, that's the scale, that's the score I would give from my personal experience, okay? Because whatever I experience from my personal experience, whatever I experience here in Southeast Asia, I like to talk about that on my channel. I like to express myself. I'm not that kind of a person who's going to shut up, or who's going to accept that kind of a treatment and just say that, okay, you know, I'll take it. No, I will not take that, okay? Racism is something which I'm truly against, and, you know, it doesn't give anyone the right to treat some other race poorly, or treat that person in a very bad way. I completely am against that, and, you know, I hope it changes over time over here in Southeast Asia. I would like to see by 2025, things start changing around, the society starts changing around in Southeast Asia and getting more aware about this sensitive issue. Yeah. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. You know, if you're a person of color, you know, and I'm not talking about passport bros, you know, having an American passport or a Western country passport. Of course you'll be treated well. But I'm talking about, you know, if you are a person of color, and if you are not in those kind of passport bro types, or, you know, like, have you had this kind of a situation? I've checked a couple of Quora posts. I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and if you found this video to be informative, you know, you can buy me a coffee. The link is down in the description below. So yeah, I mean, with that being said, you guys have a great day. This was me, Joy. Peace out.